Okay, YouTube, hope you're all having a good Saturday out there. No coffee time, KBS, today, but just when I thought I was going to get a day off, I've had some amazing news come across my desk today. Maybe you've seen it doing the rounds on the internet already, but this is absolutely fascinating. Now, before I show you what I'm talking about, my original intention today was to come verify what I had been reading and looking at earlier on. And in the back of my mind, if somebody had said to me, so do you think this is real? Do you think it's fake? I would have put my money on somebody pulling a hoax. I would have said, nah, this can't be right. This can't be real. So what am I talking about? Well, just remember, I provide, you decide. And you need to see what has just been found down in Antarctica, because this has the potential to change everything. And I'll explain why. But before that, let's head to the South Pole. So let me take you from my home up here in Scotland all the way down to Antarctica, where you are about to see something that I know is going to melt your mind pretty much the same way it's melting the snow down there. Take a look at this. Now wait till I reorientate this so you can get a better idea of what I'm talking about. But as you can see here, down in Antarctica on Google Earth, at these coordinates here, and I'll leave them in the description so that you yourself can do what I did. You can go on there, try and debunk what I'm showing you here, and you're going to be flabbergasted. Because it appears to me, and I'm not telling you what you see or what you think, but when I first seen this, I see a grey alien face. Now, like I say, this is down on the South Pole. These images, I believe, come from 2019, so they're recent. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a look back in time as well, just to make sure nobody's pulling some shenanigans, putting some false info into Google Earth, knowing that people like me and so many others out there, you included, would be running about chasing our tails for days and weeks, maybe longer, trying to figure out what the hell's going on down here. But if we just take a look at this thing right here, if we open up the view and we'll get rid of that actual marker there. What we'll do is we'll take a measurement first, because this thing is absolutely massive, folks. It's massive in size, and I'm being conservative here because it's hard to tell where the structure, and I'm calling it a structure because in my opinion, nature doesn't tend to do things like this. There's almost a symmetry there. If you were to draw a line right down here, I mean, you can almost see it's symmetrical, but let's take a measurement and let's go from there. Okay, let's just above the brow line, you see the brow there. So let's come to below the mouth. Unbelievable, folks. Look at that. This is 568 meters. Now, if we go from, say, just here, arguably where the end of this eye would be here, if it wasn't covered by snow, we come to the corner of that eye, we're talking 418, so 420 odd meters, ballpark. And of course, it's hard to tell because it would appear a lot of this is still covered in vast amounts of snow and ice. Now, if we come to the actual history of this, we'll take a look back. We'll see, has this just appeared? Has it always been there? And yet again, I got another shock. Because here's the same location at 2013. So there's 2013 there. We come back, there's 2010. We can still see it back in 2010. And if we come back all the way to, well, there's 2009. We're seeing it there still. We come all the way back to 1999. And there is still, you can't see it. I'm not going to argue with, I'm not going to like try and kid you on. You can't see it there. It's too blurry. This is early satellite kind of imagery that Google were using way back then. But as you can see, when you do get to the decent images, 2009, this is something that's been there. And if we zoom out again, you'll see it's hidden away in the Admiralty Mountains. Very, very remote location within Antarctica. And it's south of Australia and New Zealand, which you're going to see just here. So this is a very, very remote location indeed. And if we come back to the actual location here. We go back into it. Now, we've all seen the face on Cydonia. Okay, hang on now. Take us back. There we are. There we are back in the present day, or at least the most recent image of this amazing, amazing discovery. Now, this is highly significant for many reasons. If this is real, then it begs the question, A, who built it, when, and just what exactly, and who? I mean, as in not who, as in what? Because this certainly appears to be a structure depicting, like I say, I'll say it again, an alien face. Now, I get it. We have this thing in our minds where we tend to make patterns and we see things sometimes that aren't even there. Best example being when you're looking at the clouds, totally random, but thanks to something called pareidolia, we tend to see faces and shapes emerging from just random clouds. It could be said, when you're looking at landscape like this, very barren landscape, again, your brain's going to try and do the same thing. It's going to try and make structures and shapes that are familiar to you. However, I do not think pareidolia comes into the question here. I really do not. Now, I can't tell you that that's definitely some man-made or other species-made structure, but it does beg the question, and it does perhaps, folks, explain why maybe you had so many people, high-level people, rushing down to the South Pole in recent years. Buzz Aldrin, one of the most infamous, he was down there and then had to get flown home because of his blood oxygen levels. You had the head of the Russian Orthodox Church going down there. You even had bloody rubbery-faced John Kerry going down there in the middle of an election to the South Pole. Just all these random people just going down there, you know, seeing what's happening. You had Prince Harry doing that charity gig going across Antarctica as well. Now, I can't tell you that these people were in this location to see this. And I have to suspect if there was anything like this that people were going down to see and the military and everyone else were aware of and they were trying to keep it hush-hush, I would imagine this would be a location on the South Pole that they would just black out. We've seen how Google do that before. They just black out areas if they don't want you to see it. Maybe something sensitive, national security, whatever. Point being, they wouldn't have left this here for us to see if this was the thing. At least I don't think they would have left this here for us to find if they already knew about it. Now, we're going to discuss this a whole lot further tonight on the mainstream, obviously. And that'll be at 1 a.m.-ish in the UK, 8 p.m. on the East Coast, 5 p.m. on the West Coast. But what do you think? What are we looking at here? I mean, we see the Sphinx. It's nothing like the Sphinx in Egypt, but you could go to Cydonia on Mars, the face on Mars. Again, for me, it doesn't really... I think this is far more significant. I truly, truly do. And we can take a look at the face on Mars in a moment, if you like. But this really gets me wondering, and I often come back to the subject of Project Bluebeam. For anyone out there wondering what Project Bluebeam is and how this might actually play into that, well, let me just take you over here to this, Project Bluebeam. It says Project Bluebeam is a conspiracy theory. Pull this over here. It's a conspiracy theory that claims that NASA is attempting to implement a new age religion with the Antichrist at its head and start a new world order via a technologically simulated second coming. Now, the allegations were presented in 1994 by Quebecois journalist and conspiracy theorist Serge Monast, and later published in his book Project Bluebeam. Now, that's fair enough, and you're probably wondering, well, what the hell, Kev, has that got to do with this face or what we're looking at on Mars, on the South Pole? Well, if we come down here, we come to stage 1. Step 1 requires the breakdown of all archaeological knowledge. This will apparently be accomplished by faking earthquakes at precise locations around the planet. Fake new discoveries at these locations will finally explain to all the people the error of all fundamental religious doctrines, specifically Christian and Muslim. Now, this makes some degree of sense. If you want to usurp a current way of thinking, you need to completely destroy it before putting forward your own. However, religious belief is notoriously resilient to things like facts. The Shroud of Turin is a famous example that is still believed by many to be a genuine Shroud of Jesus, as opposed to a medieval forgery that it has been conclusively shown to be. Prayer studies, too, show how difficult it is to shift religious conviction with mere observational fact. Indeed, many theologians avoid making falsifiable claims or place belief somewhere specifically beyond observation to aid this. So what finds could possibly fundamentally destroy both Christianity and Islam almost overnight, and universally all over the globe? Probably nothing, yet this is only step one of an increasingly ludicrous set of events that Project Bluebeam predicts will occur. Now, they kind of make a mockery of the whole Project Bluebeam in there. However, let's just think about it, right? If we go back here, can you imagine that with all the talk of this now starting to pick up momentum around the internet, we do have experts go down there and we are told that this is some kind of man-made, alien-made structure. Very, very ancient in age. Well, that in itself would really throw a huge, huge spanner in the works of organized religion, right? Because it's going to absolutely destroy any of the timelines that we have been fed over the years as part of the story. And if we come to find, and if we are told that this here is proof of alien visitation, alien habitation on the planet at an earlier time, then you bet your bottom dollar, with the help of people like Pope Francis and all the rest of them, they will absolutely milk this to the point where everything will be rewritten. Remember, we had the Pope not long ago as well saying that he would quite happily welcome our space brothers and sisters and be happy to baptize them into the Catholic Church, right? This has been ongoing for a while, and I could be absolutely off the mark. We could be looking at just, say, some cave structure here, another cave where just randomly an eye should be, a little hole here and a ridge where a nose should be, and arguably what could be another eye there, but all of it natural, right? Right? This doesn't look natural, folks. And that's why I say whether it's faked or real, it's significant. Significant because of how it can be used to push forward an agenda that arguably could take us towards some new religion, some one world religion, the end of all the other ones as we know it, and they'll roll out this new one and we'll all sing Kumbaya to the aliens, and you know how it goes from there. So I'll be back tonight on the main show with the guys to talk about this. No doubt Joe Joseph and Scotty Lopez are going to be absolutely bamboozled. We're going to take a look at some of the other stuff. We're going to look more in depth at this structure. We're going to look around the net. We'll do a deep dive on it. We'll see what other people are saying. There's bound to be fantastical theories out there already, but all I can tell you is that if you go to Google Earth and you put in these coordinates here and you do the search, it's going to take you to this structure. And I challenge anyone to tell me that they don't see a face when they look at this. So it's up to you, folks. What do you think? Is it alien built? Is it man-made? Is it a hoax? Is it just some really, really well-placed ridges and shadows and lines that make old Kev Boy here, his brain goes, aha, alien face. Am I just suffering from pareidolia? Is this just a figment of my imagination? Use your eyes. You tell me what you see, and I'll be back later on, and I'll leave you with one last look at this crazy, crazy face. We'll do a full 360. You can go round it. Hard to tell what you're looking at there, admittedly. When we start going back round again, I'm telling you, man, that is bizarre. Utterly bizarre. Ho, 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 ho. You want some good woo? I tell you, that is the place to go. And I was speaking to Brad Olson on the show not long ago, his trip to the South Pole, Antarctica. And we got into a whole heap of other topics besides UFOs, black goo. And one thing that becomes really apparent when you start to research Antarctica, this has been a place of great interest for many, many, many decades. Why was it after World War II and during World War II the bad guys were so eager to get down there? Why was it Admiral Byrd went down there with a task force and reported the fact that there was potentially craft that could fly pole to pole in a matter of hours or minutes, and we would never be able to take them on? Rumours of openings under the ice, lush green lands. Who knows what the hell is going on down here, folks? But the history that we've been told, the history that we've been taught in schools and beyond, just doesn't match up. The timeline's wrong. So is this Project Bluebeam? Is this evidence of our alien origins? Dang, this is going to trigger people. I'll be back tonight, folks. You keep it real. Go and check it for yourself. I'll leave the coordinates in the description. Remember, check back for the live stream later on today. So keep it real. Keep your mind open, but not to the point where your brain turns to mush and starts running out your ear. Okay? Catch you later, folks.